Hey guys, welcome to Zoo School Live today. My name is Tim. I am a zookeeper here at Elmwood Park Zoo, and I'm really excited today to introduce you guys to one of our newest members of our zoo family, or two of our newest members, I should say, our greater Rhea, or Rhea. So if you see these guys at the zoo, they're right near our peccary, and they're right near our petting zoo and our chickens. And they have this big yard that they get to hang out with. So we have two of them right now, and maybe in the future we might get more. But I want to introduce you to our two guys that we have. So we have two male Rhea, and we'll see if they'll come a little closer for some lettuce, because they really love their lettuce. So the one on the left, his name is Beaker, and the one on the right here, coming in close, that's Bunsen. So they are actually named after Muppets. If you guys are Muppet fans out there, they are named after the two Muppets. And we named them that because we think they do, in fact, look like Muppets. They're very silly. They also have just very silly personalities as well. So the easiest way to tell the difference between Beaker and Bunsen is that Beaker, again, who's in the back there, he has a much darker throat, and the back of his neck is much darker too. Whereas Bunsen here is a bit lighter colored all over, and he's actually also a little bit taller than Beaker is too. Alright guys, so we are back with our greater Rhea, Beaker and Bunsen. So, one more time, they do and are related to ostriches and emus. However, they actually live in a completely different part of the world. So ostriches are only found in Africa, emus are only found in Australia, and Rhea are actually found in South America. And they're found in southern South America, so in the cooler, higher regions of South America, in Argentina, Paraguay, some parts of Brazil, and other places in that area. These guys are found in open brushlands with a lot of bushes. They're found in kind of forests that aren't super dense, so kind of like loosely packed forests. That's because these guys do eat a lot of vegetation. They eat a lot of grasses. They eat leaves that they can get their hands on, but they'll also eat a lot of other stuff too. They'll eat bugs, lizards. Sometimes they'll even eat small birds if they can get them. These guys will eat just about anything, and so they're pretty well adapted to live in a few different kinds of areas. But they like open areas. They like, open plains and grasslands and shrublands a lot because they're really fast. They are really great runners. So where they can't fly, they actually excel at running. These guys can run at about 35 to 40 miles an hour, which is pretty amazing. You can kind of see their legs. They have pretty long legs, and they're really thick and strong, which gives them that power to run super fast. And they need to be able to run because they do have predators, and they need to be able to run from their predators. The main animals that might try and hunt Rhea are jaguars and cougars. And so Rhea, to run away from them, they have to be really fast, and they also have to have kind of a good amount of maneuverability. They have to be able to kind of dodge and zig and zag all over the place. And so something that's kind of really cool about them is that, unlike emus, their wings that they used to use to fly a long time ago haven't shrunk to really tiny sizes. They're actually still really big. And they use those wings to steer themselves while they run. So if you've ever pretended that you were an airplane and you ran around with your arms out to the side and steered yourself left and right, that's actually what these guys do when they run around. They put their wings out and they use their wings to steer themselves when they run, because they're running so fast that they actually need something like wings to help them turn. And so to get away from their predators, they zig and they zag and they run all over the place. And it tends to be a pretty good method of getting away from them because they do tend to be a bit faster than their predators. So if they can kind of dodge out of the way, they're in pretty good shape. So something that's really interesting, so I mentioned that they can't fly. So most birds can fly, obviously. And something that birds have that let them fly is that their bones are partially hollow. So they have kind of this honeycomb structure inside of their bones that lets them be really, really light and fly away. These guys don't have that anymore because they kind of adapted to not fly. They're much better on the ground and they're much better at running. Their bones are solid just like ours. So it lets them not be quite as fragile as other birds. They don't break bones as easily. And it also gives them more power. So they, along with running, they also kick with their legs. That's their other form of defense. So what those solid bones actually do, so these guys are very tall. So they're 3 to 4 feet tall, which for a bird is pretty tall. And they weigh somewhere between 50 and 80 pounds, which for a bird is unheard of. As a comparison, the tallest bird in North America is the whooping crane. They are about 5 to 6 feet tall, but only weigh about 15 to 16 pounds. That's because they need to be light like that to fly. So they're actually taller than these Rhea, but they weigh significantly less than them. So these guys are built to be strong and they're built to be fast. And that's why they have those strong, hard legs. And that's also why, again, they live in those open grasslands, is because they need space to be able to run from their predators, to keep themselves safe. Another really cool thing that I find really interesting about Rhea, that makes them really unique throughout all of the animal kingdom, is that the males of the species actually do most of the child raising. So when the females lay their eggs, the males actually sit on the eggs completely. The females don't do any incubation of their eggs. They don't sit on the eggs at all. The male do all the sitting on the eggs, and then once they hatch, the males actually raise the babies too. So they become very protective. The babies follow their dads around, and their moms go off somewhere else, which makes them really interesting and unique in the animal kingdom. Usually it's the females that do the raising of the babies, but these guys kind of do things a little bit differently. They do things their own way, which I love. I love when I find out, unique things about animals that make them unlike anything else. So kind of something about the personality of our two boys is that they are a little bit shy. You may have seen earlier they came over to the fence and Bunsen ate a little bit of food out of my hands, and that's pretty new for them. But they only just got to Elmwood Park in the fall, so they've only been here for a few months, and previously they came from Six Flags. They're up in New Jersey, so just up the road. They have a wildlife park, and that's where they came to. So they didn't have as much experience being right near people. So these guys were pretty shy, but they've started warming up to us fairly quickly, which is really exciting. It means that we get to start doing some training with them soon, and getting them used to us so that we can get their weights voluntarily. Eventually we'll be able to give them vaccines voluntarily and do a lot of other really cool things with them. So that's something that we are working on regularly with them, is to get them used to us. But because they are an animal that is what's called a prey species, so they're animals that do hunt them in the wild, naturally they tend to be a little bit more shy. So if you see them around and you come to the zoo, you don't want to make a lot of loud noises around them, and it makes them feel much more comfortable and much more ready to come over to the fence and see what's going on over here. So these guys are really cool, and we love seeing their personalities develop around us. I'll tell you, even between the two of them, they have very different personalities. Beaker is a little bit more shy, and he's a little bit more calm, and Bunsen tends to be a little bit more gregarious. He's a little bit more ready to come over and say hi and see what's up, and he tends to do a lot more moving around in the exhibit.
So we're gonna make sure we remind you guys today that if you have any questions about our Rhea, now is the time to put those in the comments section and we can go through and answer them. I have a few questions for you, Tim. Do you guys give these guys any special enrichment, things to engage with in their enclosure?
So yeah, we do absolutely give them enrichment, and here at the zoo we have a process that every animal has to get approved for enrichment. So because these guys are new, they can only have so many things, but we're working on being able to give them more and more things. But if you look around their enclosure, down here, down low and up high, we do have some metal containers that we can use to put their food into, or even hide their food. They can kind of flick those around and turn them over and pick them up if they want. Sometimes we give them plastic toys that they like to play with. We're still learning what they really enjoy playing with. We're kind of experimenting with all of that, but they are very curious, and they do tend to check out all the different kinds of toys and items that we put in with them.
So Elisa asked, do they know their keepers? Do they recognize you guys or show any signs of recognition yet?
Yeah, I think they do. So birds are pretty smart animals in general, and they also have a really good sense of sight, so they can see a lot of color. So I think the biggest thing that they recognize is the shirts that the keepers wear. So they'll see us coming and they might think, oh, looks like they're gonna bring us lettuce. Also, the more that we've been able to come in with them and take care of them, clean their areas and feed them, they get more used to us, and I think they spend more time around us and start to recognize us there too. They're very smart, and they definitely have the ability to distinguish between different people.
So Chris would like to know, are they going to be in a mixed species exhibit with Joni, who's their neighbor, right?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. So that is our plan. Eventually, we would like to introduce them to Joni, have them share the same space. It's something we have to do very carefully because we never know exactly how different animals are going to react to each other. But we're hoping that they're going to get along really well, and they're going to just be able to hang out all day long. And Joni will have them to hang out with, and they'll have her, and it'll be really fun.
So Janet would like to know, do the males and females look different, like with ostriches?
Yeah, so that's also a great question. So they look a little bit different. They don't look really, really different. So ostriches, males are really dark colored, and females look actually kind of like Rhea in the same coloration. With Rhea, their coloration's a little bit different. Males do have those dark black patches on their necks, and females tend to be a little bit more gray and mottled all over their body. But it's much harder to tell the difference between a male and a female Rhea as it is a male and a female ostrich.
So, Kara would like to know, do they lay multiple eggs at one time? They must lay big eggs because they're big birds.
Yeah, so they do lay pretty big eggs, and they do lay multiple eggs at a time. If I'm not mistaken, I think they can lay up to about 3 eggs at a time. But what's interesting is that a male will actually sit on a nest that multiple females have put eggs into. So females will share the same nest that they put their eggs into, and then that male will actually sit on the eggs of multiple females at a time. So he could actually be raising up to like 10 to 15 little Rhea at one time. Also, just a fun fact to throw in, baby Rhea make a very funny sound, and it sounds kind of like a cartoon bomb dropping. It goes, and it's very silly.
That's awesome. Little Jerry, would like to know, what's their favorite dance? Do Rhea dance?
Do Rhea dance? So I don't know if they like human dances or not. I haven't seen them dancing to any music, but they do, when they court each other, they do kind of a dance where they fluff up their feathers, and then they kind of wobble their wings back and forth, and they shuffle. So they do definitely have their own unique dance that they like to do during courting season.
Awesome. I think that is all the questions we have for today. Remember, folks, if you are watching this at a later time, feel free to put questions in the comments and we'll try to hop back on and answer them later. Anything else you'd like to share with us about our Rhea, Tim?
I just want you guys all to come out and appreciate them. They are so cool. They're new to the zoo, so they want to meet you guys. They want to have you guys come out and see them. And they are just a lot of fun to watch. So definitely come out and come meet Beaker and Bunsen, because they're awesome.
Great. Just a reminder, guys, we are open every day of the week from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please make sure you get out here and enjoy some nice weather and visit our animal friends. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys.